In this lecture, career planning methods and practices, I will be discussing about the various career planning methods used by organizations. To name a few: assessment programs, self development materials, counseling, communication, career planning workshops. These interventions help an individual to develop their potential, and we have already discussed about this in the previous section, like how in each career stage, that is establishment stage, then establishment, maintenance, advancement stage, these interventions help an individual overcome their performance flaw. They help them adjust to the environment so that they are highly productive, and they add value to the organization. They perform effectively in their job roles, and which will reduce the turnover, reduce training cost, increase person job fit, reduce turnover, and increase the problem solving capacity, and so on. So, with moving further, what are the career planning mechanism? We will be discussing about career development, career planning mechanism, and matching individual and organizational needs. So, first we will discuss about the career planning mechanism. There are some career planning mechanisms like the communication, workshops, counseling, self development materials, and assessment programs. What is communication? Regarding how does communication play an important role in developing the career opportunities and resources? Communication regarding the career opportunities and resources which are available in the organization is very important for to retain interest of an individual. Workshops to assess members' interest, abilities and job situations, and to formulate career paths. Many a times an individual is not able to assess his or her own strengths, and he is given a task which he has least interest in. So, in that case the person would not sustain interest in performing the task. To know the ability of an individual, to understand the job situations and formulate career plans, it is important to have some workshops organized. Career counseling similarly is very important, where managers or human resource development department can help an individual in understanding the problems which he encounters on the job. So, counseling the individual on his personal and professional front is important to keep the individual performing very high. Similarly, self development materials directed towards identifying the life and career issues. An individual may be very intelligent and may be very competent to perform, but sometimes because of his personal problems, because of certain family problems or some personal problems in which he encounters in the workplace, or maybe certain issues of in the workplace, he is not able to perform as he is expected to perform. So, self development materials are required to develop an individual, which is directed towards identifying the life and career issues, that is personal issues as well as the career issues. Then assessment programs that test vocational interest of an individual, aptitude, ability to perform, which is relevant to the career goals. So, what we will discuss here is then the career planning mechanism or intervention mechanism that we have already discussed, and moving further we will discuss about career development. What is career development? Career development is an ongoing process of gaining knowledge and improving the competency of an individual, skills of an individual, that will help them to establish in the career path, and it is a lifelong exercise. It is a lifelong series of activities of organizing workshops that contribute to the person's career exploration stage, establishment, success and fulfillment. It helps individual employee to attain career objectives, career goals, and results in long term career effectiveness and success of the individual. Matching individual with the organizational needs, matching persons interest with organizational requirement is very important. If an individual does not find a job which is of interest to him, so then there would be dissatisfaction, there would be stress and decline in performance. To a larger extent it would lead to turnover. So, therefore, to assess or to match the person's interest with organizational job profile is very important task. Making career or job choice, making contributions, fitting into organization using experience of an individual. Individual need identification is first you identify what is the job choice or career choice of an individual, what contribution he can make, fit into organization, use experience of the individual. Organizational needs are staffing needs, developmental needs, leveling off and restaffing. So, career development plans of an individual is first initiated with a self assessment and exploration of career objectives. Self assessment is identification of interest, what engages me. So, an individual has to first introspect what engages him, what is his passion. Engagement and passion can help an individual know the interest. Motivated skills, what motivates an individual, what do I do well and what skills do I need to develop. So, an individual will internalize what he is good at and what he can contribute to, what he needs to develop, what he is not having. So, strengths and weaknesses need to be identified. Then what are the career values? What appears to be useful to an individual or meaningful to an individual in the workplace? What are the personality traits? What personality traits what are the personality traits of an individual? So, self assessment is an important point in the career plan or career developmental plan of an individual, where he understands the interest or what can continue his engagement and what are his passions, what motivates him, what values does he associate in the workplace, what is meaningful to the individual and what are his personality traits, which will give a clear cut assessment of the strengths and weaknesses of individual or a measure for self assessment. Further is the career exploration. So, he has to explore which career would be most suitable for him, what organizations align with the interest of the individual, which organization can keep his interest alive or what can be closely associated with his personal interest. Job functions, which job functions can give an intrinsic motivation to develop his skills or to fine tune his skills. So, what skills are organizations looking for? Is that in alignment with the interest area of the individual? Which environment, what type of work would best support the individual? Because people generally look for a supportive environment, supportive workplace which can shape their prior existing skills and which can develop their potential for future roles. So, supporting work environment is very important. So, this career exploration stage, people try to explore whether they can have a workplace which can be most conducive to them to keep their interest alive, to keep them motivated to perform. Then last is the fit. How does the type of position being assigned to the individual fits with his personality traits, fits with his interest or which can keep on motivating him. Employee's role in career planning. What is the individual employee's role? Identify the skills and aptitude or self assessment, as we have discussed. His interest, motivational level, his personality traits and career values, what gives him or her more happiness to or enjoyable in the workplace, what type of skills and aptitudes are required. Identify high potential occupations, identify the occupation that can keep their interest alive, that can be motivating, intrinsically motivating, which can where they can find the nature of job to be more interesting and meaningful, and change jobs if necessary, find and utilize a mentor. So, these are generally the part of the employee's role in career planning. Then moving further, we will discuss about career planning and development cycle. So, we have a complete career and life interests that we already discussed, what values motivation. So, individual will first identify the interest of what interests him, what are the motivational skills or how he values motivation, what are the key strengths, skills, knowledge, personality, temperament of the individual, transferable skills, career objectives. So, let us start with how the career planning and development cycle begins. In this discussion, know who you are is the first step. An individual need to know who he or she is, or the self assessment, self exploration. Explore your opinion. In the self assessment section, an individual identifies the values, what will what is meaningful to the individual, what values he has, what would be more interesting for an individual to work, what interests him, what are his strengths and weaknesses, the traits and what are his ambitions. So, know yourself is the first point in career planning and development. After this, the person explores. In exploration stage, as we discussed in the second section, we discussed about exploration stage, where the person would look at the career options after the degree, what are the industry trends, what is occupational research. If you see in that occupation, how the person's career would move. So, the individual moves towards exploring various options in the market, the industry and the options he can, the career options available to him. The third one is how he can be more focused. He can know, decide what you want, what you can. So, we first moved on from knowing self to exploring options to decide what you exactly want. Action planning, goal setting and decision making. Exploring in this stage what exactly you want. When we know, when we want to know what exactly we want, so we will have a proper planning, we will set goals and then take decisions. Then after that, act, that is connect with employers, job search process and gain experience, and then review the decisions as necessary. So, what we discussed here, career planning and development cycle is a cycle which starts with assessment or self assessment, exploration, decide or deciding what you want by being focused, and then further taking action, act or take action to achieve. Like, once you have searched for options and you have decided what you want, then you connect with the employer, search through the job search process and then gain experience, and finally review decision as necessary. Review your decision if that job is of interest to you or not. So, the career planning and development cycle has three important points to be noted. One is career option, plan where you want to go and be competitive. Today the workplace is more challenging. It is unlike the traditional workplace where the employees need not have to move from one job to another. Now the job is, the nature of job is highly competitive. As the industry has various options, an individual has several options outside the organization. So, an individual can contribute to the workplace by exploring the options, first moving with assessment of self, exploring your options, knowing about the options available in the industry, about the career path in the industry and occupational search, and after that they can decide where they want to go, where there is a career path available, where they can find an interest and which can keep them motivated intrinsically, and so that they can contribute effectively, and then take a proper action where they, through the job search process, connecting with the employers and further gaining experience, and they can review decisions as necessary. So, it is not that an individual will finalize or freeze the decision, but they can review the decision if they find an alternative available. So, career and life stages, this discussion I will conclude with career and life interest, values, motivation, key strengths, skills, knowledge, personality, temperament, transferable skills and career options which are available can be included in the career planning and development cycle. Employee career development plan, there can be a questionnaire which can be filled up where the employee career development plan can be jotted down with the name of the employee, the position, the department and the appraisal, like what is the logical step the employee would like to take and when you think that he or she will be ready for the next position. So, whether the employee is ready within the next 3 months or 6 months or 1 year or 2 years, and this will give an assessment to the employer about the current position, his performance and how he would be moving on in the job in next 6 months or to 1 years or 2 years. What is the probable promotional plan in the organization within the next 5 years? What does this employee need to prepare for promotion? If such kind of questionnaire is given to the employee, so he gets to know what is the knowledge required, what is the action plan he can take up and whether any kind of training is required or say management development programs are to be taken up or not. In the career planning or in the career development process, there are 5 points which need to be taken care of. The knowledge of self, career development process, as we discussed earlier, the career development process rests on 4 important points, that is knowledge of self, knowledge of sector, find the synergy and take appropriate action. So, knowledge of self, as we discussed earlier, there are important points to be noted, that is purpose, interest, value, strengths and skills. That is that will give an introspection of the strengths and weaknesses of the individual, to know about the interest, to know about the motivational level, the values which the individual employee associate, like what keeps him, values of individual employees like meaningful work, what attracts him to perform on the job. And after that, knowledge of the sector, that is the sector, what are the trends in the sector, the occupational research, the career options available, and finding the synergy or targeted networking, job search tools, goal setting, action plan, how he can decide to what he exactly wants through goal setting, decision making. And then further there is a action that the individual has to take, whether to build resume, contact employers, experience and learn and keep up the well-being. So, here we can see that when the employee knows about self, this will build credibility, and when he knows about the sector, that would develop his confidence, and when he is finding synergy or connecting with the industry, or he is searching through various tools, he is building relationship. And finally, when he takes action, he is confident that he would this is the most important job, or this is the job which is closely aligning with his interest, and this helps in developing trust. So, basically the job career planning process, career development process helps in identifying or helps individual to associate his interest with the job which is most nearly or which is mostly associated with his interest, which can keep him motivated. And the focus of the career development on HR activities. When we compare the traditional and contemporary job, what is the focus of career development on each of the HR activity? Like HR activities, as explained, is the human resource planning, recruitment and selection, training and development, performance appraisal, compensation and benefit. So, let us move with the first point, that is human resource planning. The focus of career development was just to analyze skills, jobs, tasks, present and future, project needs and use statistical data. Then the focus of recruitment and planning was matching organizational needs with the qualified individuals, need of the individual with qualified individuals. Training and development need was provide opportunities for learning, skills, information and attitude. Performance appraisal was rating the individuals and rewarding the individuals based on the rating. Compensation and benefit, the objective was reward for time, productivity, talent and so on. But when we see that the nature of the job in the contemporary organizations have changed and the focus of the career development intervention, career development has also changed. So, how does it change with each of the HR activity? For human resource planning, it is not just analyzing jobs or skills or tasks in the present and the future job, but it adds information about individuals' interest, individuals' preferences and the like to replacement plans. So, here the contemporary job just not analyze the job, skills and tasks, but they try to identify what is the interest of the individual, aligning interest of individual with the organizational portfolios, organizational requirement. So, there is a shift from the traditional to contemporary job. For human resource planning, earlier it was in the traditional jobs matching, analyzing job, skills and tasks for the present and the future requirement, but interest of the individual was not concerned. Recruitment and placement, recruiting again in the contemporary organizations matches individual and job based on variables including employees career interest and aptitude. Based on employees career interest and aptitude, matching individual and jobs based on variables like including employees career interest and aptitude. Training and development, the focus is providing career path information, adds individual's development plan. So, career path is given to the individual and individual is also given the developmental plan. Whereas, in the contemporary organizations, the focus of training and development was to provide opportunity for learning, skills, information and attitudinal training. But there was no discussion about the career path available and how an individual can move further in the career path. Performance appraisal, the focus was on rating and rewarding, but now it adds developmental plans and individual goal setting. An individual will be given different goals and how an individual can match or adds developmental plans and individual goal setting. So, performance appraisal starts with goal setting and how an individual attains that goal, and then his performance is reviewed and a feedback is given and followed by a training being proposed for the development of an individual. Compensation and benefit, earlier it was based on the performance review, but here the compensation and rewards and benefit focuses on adds tuition reimbursement plan, compensation for non-job related activities such as sabbaticals and continuous development of an individual. So, it is not just the traditional and the contemporary jobs. When we compare, the focus of career development has completely changed. The focus of the career development with respect to compensation and benefit in the traditional job was just rewarding employee based on the time spent or the productivity or the talent exhibited, but the present employment of the present or contemporary organizations, they take a keen interest on the development or on the development of an individual, and there are several options available which can aid to the continuous learning and development of the individual, like reimbursement of the tuition fees, sending them to various educational institutes to attend live programs, to have an exposure through sabbatical, or giving them opportunities for continuous learning. So, this way the employee keeps on performing effectively. So, career development process, as we discussed so far, career development process begins with individual information and planning, job acquisition and movement, development and reward, organizational information and planning. And job description, so this is mostly the career development process that we have discussed. Career and human resource planning, individual career planning and human resource planning. So, career development begins with individual objectives and life plans, occupational and organizational choice, job assignment choice, development planning and review, and retirement. Human resource planning, the focus is on business objectives, ways to attract and orient talent, method for matching individuals and job, ways to help individual people perform and develop ways to prepare for satisfying retirement. So, the career and human resource planning helps in aligning individuals' personal objectives and plans with the business objectives and plans. And an individual can be more successful if his interest is aligned with the business plans and business objectives. Occupational, because you cannot keep a person motivated for a long run if he does not possess, or if his interest is aligned somewhere else. Occupational and organizational choice is very important, which type of organization an individual would like to work, because nowadays people are aware that if an organization is supportive, then they can continue to perform effectively. Ways to attract and orient, the focus of the human resource planning is to identify various methods through which they can attract and orient new talent. So, this is about the career and human resource planning. Next, we will discuss about the career choices and preferences of an individual. The best career choice offers the best match between what one wants and what one needs. Good career choice outcomes should produce a series of positions that gives an opportunity for good performance, maintain commitment to the field and give high work satisfaction. A good career match develops a positive self concept and do work that one thinks is important. One of the most widely used approaches to guide career choice is Holland's vocational preference model. Career development interventions, as we already discussed, role and structure interventions, that is realistic job preview, job rotation and challenging assignments, consultative roles and phased retirement. Individual employee development, that is assessment centers, coaching and mentoring, development training, performance management and work life balance. And some career development initiatives like career planning workshops, career counseling, monitoring, personal development and career workbooks. We have already discussed all these interventions, and these interventions help to keep the employee interested to perform. Innovative career development initiatives. What are the other developmental initiatives which an organization can initiate or can take? Provide each employee with an individual budget, offer on-site or online career centers, encourage role reversal. If an individual changes the role, so he can understand, he can also learn certain things by experience. Establish a corporate campus, help organize career success teams, provide career coaches, provide career planning workshops, utilize computerized or offline, on and offline career development programs, catch them young. So, these are innovative career development initiatives which an organization can also incorporate to develop the potentials of an individual. Career development, who is responsible? Is it the individual or the organization, or collectively, collective responsibility of both organization and employee? Yes, of course, earlier when we started the organizations in the past, that is the traditional organization, it was the sole responsibility of the organization to look after the career development of an individual. But later on, as the jobs have become more competitive and there are various options available, so the organizations are not solely responsible for an individual's development, but the individuals themselves or the employees themselves are also responsible to identify what they want to learn, what is their interest and what can keep them motivated, how they can contribute to the organization. So, it is a collective, or you can say collective interest of both organization or collective initiative exhibited by both organization and the employee, who can be made responsible for the career development of an individual. Roles in career development, as we discussed, it is not just the responsibility of an individual or an employer, but it is a collective responsibility. So, how is an individual responsible? Accepts responsibility for your own career. Individual should exhibit or accept responsibility, assess interests, skills and values, seek career information about the career, establish his own career path and goal, utilize developmental opportunities, whatever opportunities are available in the organization in the form of career workshops, in the form of say mentoring, coaching and say opportunities for lifelong learning or say corporate campus. So, the individual should explore opportunities, should encash on those opportunities, talk with your manager and about your career, discuss with your manager about your career. It is not that you alone can be responsible, but since you are working for an employer, so the management representatives or the manager who is supervising is also discuss the career opportunities, talk with your manager about your career plans, follow with through and realistic career path. So, it should be always realistic and not very unrealistic, because it will give back in terms of stress, and if you take up an assignment which is not very feasible to perform, so it will breed incompetency, or it will develop a sense of say dissatisfaction, which will amount to stress. So, we should always think of something which is realistic or realistic career path. Employers' responsibilities: communicate the mission, policy and procedure. Whatever the mission, policies and procedures, provide training and development opportunities including workshops, provide the appropriate training to the individual, give them say send them to various workshops, conferences, so that they learn. An employee does not remain just confined to the knowledge of the work the environment, but he should also get an exposure to compare what are the best practices available in other organizations in that industry. So, there should be a scope given to an employee to exhibit, to learn, share knowledge with others, to learn the best practices from other organizations and the industry, provide career information and career programs, provide them various career specific information and the options for career programs, offer a variety of career paths. They should not just be confined to one career path, but options, give them a platform for choosing different options or different career options. Provide a career oriented performance feedback. Performance feedback should be given to employees so that they know where there is a possibility to develop their potential. Provide mentoring opportunities, a continuous support for growth and development. Provide employees with individual development plan. Individual development plan should be also shared with the employee. Provide academic learning assessment programs. So, manager's responsibility is provide timely and accurate performance feedback, developmental assignments and support, participate in career discussions. So, it should be a discussion after the performance review, so that employee knows what is to be done, how he can improve upon his performance, support employee development plans. So, with this I would like to conclude the session. Thank you.